Hi everyone and welcome to another class with Buff Browz, and today we are doing a naked lamy, which was one of my favourite techniques because I just love that fluffy, restructured finish without the density of colour. It really homes into that clean girl aesthetic vibe. So I am preparing the skin and the hair by cleaning the area with Purify, and I'm just using our cleansing brush to buff that into the skin. So you're just going to remove any excess with the cotton pad, and then I do like to use Detox to completely detoxify the skin and the hair.
Yeah.
So I'm going in with step 1 from our Cysteamine range. And as soon as I start working it into the brows, which is what I'm doing now, I start my timer for this brow. Now I really need to keep an eye on these brows because the hair itself it's not really fine, but it's fairly fine. It's sort of fine to normal, so it's not going to take long to process. However, where she would like the hairs to be structured more upwards, that processing time is going to need to be that little bit longer as they are currently facing downwards. So to take them from that downwards direction to a more upwards direction is going to take a little bit more time, but we don't want to risk over processing them, so that visual assessment is so key. So I've just applied a wrap to the brows to speed up the timings a little bit and to help the hairs to lay flat to the skin. But I only ever apply this wrap for 2 minutes at a time to avoid over processing and just maintain control. And I'm really pushing the product into the hair using a brush through the film. I'm just applying a little bit more product to the brows as the hair has really absorbed the majority of that product already. And I'm really concentrating more on the lower half of the brow, on the root where the hair is its most dense, rather than the tips. And again, just applying a wrap and really pushing those hairs down. So I'm removing the product from the tips of the hair. Now the tips of the hair do not house a cuticle, which is why product can penetrate more quickly, more easily into the cortex as there are less layers to work through. And I'm just applying a tad more product to the root of the hairs to make sure that they are fully broken down and relaxed, whereas there is now minimal product on the upper half of the eyebrow hairs. So I'm just checking that flexibility of the eyebrow hairs to see how freely they move. And I'm also starting to brush them up in the direction that I want them to lie in. I've removed step 1 as I'm happy with the breakdown of the disulfide bonds and feel that the hairs have now processed. And I'm doing a step 1.5 with Heavenly Balm, which is quite a phenomenal product really. And what it really does do is just replenishes the hair and the skin, but it houses so many gorgeous nutrients and minerals, which is just going to give the hair exactly what it needs post step 1. And I just leave it on for a couple of minutes and then I remove any excess before applying step 2. Applying a really generous amount of step 2. Now step 2 is your setting agent, so it fixes the hair into its new shape and structure. So you need to make sure that you have brushed the brows into the shape that you want them to set in before applying step 2. And I like to apply a very, very generous amount. Brushing step 2 through to make sure that those hairs are fully saturated. And then I'm just smoothing the product back through again. And then I will leave step 2 on for the same timings that I used step 1 for. Okay, so I've now removed step 2 and I'm just brushing the tips of those hairs down because I'm going to wax the brows now and I don't want the tips of the hairs to get caught by the wax. So I'm using Skin Shield to apply to the skin and create a barrier between the skin and the wax. Now this is so important, so important. If you are not using a barrier after lamination, you possibly and almost will guarantee causing some kind of skin grazing, which is where the top layer of skin lifts off with the wax. So creating that shield is so important. It's a product that I absolutely cannot live without, and I have actually not waxed clients if I've not had it to hand. So what I would say about waxing is it is hard and there is an art to it. Do try different tools to work with. I really like the disposable lip ones to apply the wax to the skin, and also note just how little the skin is irritated, and I really do put that down to Skin Shield and creating that really nice barrier. So I've just applied a really small amount of Heavenly Balm to the brows, and I'm just brushing it through and brushing those brows up into shape. And I really like Heavenly Balm if I'm looking for a particularly sleek result. I really like it as an alternative step 3 for some clients. Just using camo, and I'm going to blend it into the skin, and this is going to take away any redness and neutralise the skin to its natural skin tone.